Hey, Gisters, and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist, where we break down the hottest political talk shaking up Nigeria. So, what's the latest gist? Well, it's about the 2027 presidential race, which is already heating up. The main character in today's gist is former Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. Reports have been flying around that he has reaffirmed a vow to serve only one term if he becomes president. Now, you might think, okay, that's interesting, but veteran journalist and former presidential spokesman Dr. Reuben Abati sees it very differently. He calls it a sign of desperation and a political gambit that is doomed to fail. Is he right? Is it a desperate move or a strategic play? First, let us hear exactly what Dr. Abati had to say on Arise News. So sit back and take a watch.
I'm saying that any politician that comes to you and says, I'm going to do only one term, that's a sign of desperation. It will not work. Just like all these gambits about serving food, carrying plates, and doing boy at parties that could be better organized by event organizers, it's also a sign of desperation. It doesn't work. It will never work. And then the second challenge, of course, is that you say the North will buy into this idea of one term. No, the North will not. Because the civil war in this country has never ended. I don't believe that Northerners who are already aggrieved with a Yoruba president will just shift and embrace the possibility of an Igbo president. There are contradictions in this country that have not been sorted out. We should lay the emphasis on competence, ability. If the Nigerian people are politically educated to a point where they can vote for a competent person, regardless of where he comes from, regardless of his religion, that's when this country will begin to move forward. So all this, I will do one time, I will serve you food, I will give you agbado. No, please. That's not going to work, in my own opinion. I don't know whether you disagree.
Wow, Dr. Abati did not mince words at all. Let's break down his analysis because he made some very heavy points. First, his main argument is that any politician promising a single term is basically throwing their hands that they are desperate for power and willing to say anything to get it. And if you recall, Soludo has made similar statements that anybody who is promising one term presidency or one term to lead in one term needs some psychiatric evaluation. And Abati is somehow rephrasing what Soludo just said. So let's continue. He dismisses it as a cheap political trick, lumping it in with what he calls boy activities, like Peter Obi being seen serving food at events, suggesting these are all just for show. Secondly, and this is the most explosive part on his analysis, he brings in the ethnic and regional politics of Nigeria. He argues that the one-term promise, which is likely designed to win over the North, will fail. His reasons, he says, and I quote, "The civil war in this country has never ended." That's a powerful statement. His logic is that the North, which he claims is already aggrieved with the current Yoruba presidency under Tinubu, would be easily convinced to support an Igbo candidate just because he promises to stay for only 4 years. Let me say again, if you listen to what's his name, Diji Adeyanju, he has said similar thing that the North can never trust Peter Obi in anything he says. Let's go ahead. He is saying the political distrust is too deep for such a simple promise to fly. Finally, he concludes that the focus should be on competence and ability, not on these political gambits. He believes Nigeria will only progress when voters choose leaders based on merit, regardless of their ethnicity or religion. So that's his position. A one-time vow is a desperate, performative act that ignores the deep-seated political realities of Nigeria. Now, for my own take, this is where we go beyond the headlines at Oba's Trending Gist. To be fair, Dr. Abati has a point about the need for competence. In an ideal world, we will all vote for the most qualified person, period. But Nigeria, as we know, is far from an ideal world. Here's where I think his analysis can be challenged. Is a one-time promise really just desperation, or is this a strategic political calculation? In Nigerian politics, Power rotation, whether written or unwritten, is a massive issue. A one-time promise is often a tool used to build a coalition. It is a signal to other regions, particularly the North, saying, I am not here to monopolize power. I will serve, stabilize things, and then power will rotate. It's a political bridge building exercise. To dismiss it as just desperation might be overlooking its strategic intent in a country obsessed with whose turn it is. Now, let's talk about his civil war has not ended comment. While it is true that Nigeria has very serious ethnic and regional fault lines, framing it as an ongoing war is a very bleak and perhaps fanatic view. It suggests that no amount of political negotiation or goodwill can ever bridge these divides. But is that true? The 2023 election itself shows that a significant number of voters, especially young people across different regions, were willing to vote outside of the traditional ethnic and religious lines. They were motivated by a desire for change, for competence, and for a different kind of leadership. The very thing Dr. Abati say he wants. So, while the old political elites might still be playing the ethnic game, the electorate might be slowly moving on. So the real question is this: who is the one-term promise for? Is it for the old guard politicians who trade in ethnic blocks, or is it for the average voters who is tired of the status quo and might see it as a commitment to national unity? My final thought is this: while Dr. Abati is right to call for a politics based on competence, you cannot simply wish away the reality of identity politics in Nigeria. A smart politician must address it. The debate is whether a one-time vow is the right way to do it. Is it a genuine commitment to unity or just another empty promise? That's for the voters to decide. So, that's the gist for now. On one hand, Reuben Abati says is a non-starter, a sign of weakness. On the other, it could be seen as a necessary move in a complex political chess game. But I want to know what you think. Is Peter Obi's reports on one-time vow a sign of desperation, as Dr. Abati claims, or is it a smart strategic move to build national consensus? Drop your hot takes in the comment section below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, you know what to do. Smash that like button, share this video with your friends and on your WhatsApp group. And most importantly, subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist so you never miss out on our sharp analysis. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. Peace.